Hello, welcome to What She's Thinking. I'm your host, Greg Schwartz, your coach for online dating. I'm asking a group of women questions on dating, sex, and other topics, all submitted by men like you. To get your questions answered, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/questions. So here's the interview.
Hi, I'm Christina Weber, co-founder of Deepen. We are filling the void between the dating apps and private matchmakers by providing spaces for people to meet in real life, doing things they love to do, stepping outside of their comfort zone, and learning, practicing love. We're currently dating in the Los Angeles area. You can check us out at Deepen, DEEPEN.com. Lots of fun things coming up for you to participate in. I am also the founder of Feminine Weapon, which is a woman-centric brand. And we do an annual event every year on January 30th where we raise money for children of abuse, extreme poverty, and trafficking through the Orphan Starfish Foundation, which works with 13,000 children in 27 countries. To me, my life is very much living on purpose. My purpose is to help people attract and sustain healthy, meaningful, loving relationships. And as I'm doing it for myself too. And I feel very much called to do this because I cannot wait to be a mother. And I want my children to grow up in a world where our educational programs include relationship curriculums, include programs that teach us how to have the best partnerships in life, the best friendships, to live in community, to overcome conflict, to be honest and authentically ourselves.
They so need to learn that.
They definitely do. And I am in a place of co-creation. I want to be in relationships and have friendships where we are doing shit that matters together. And that is definitely most important to me right now in my life. I love to dance. I am very feminine. I'm 37. I believe you wanted me to share as well. I love life. I just got back from Bali. I was there for a month, so I've been traveling a lot. And I look forward to the mystery of life as it continues to unfold. They usually comment on my passion and my creativity. And I'm very present, and I am constantly seeking out, what can we do together? Where could this connection lead? What could it grow to do or be? And there's a fun and a lightness and a depth and a realness about spending time with me. And to add, I'm also the host of the Your Love Accomplice podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find that all at wedeepen.com.
Hi, I'm Ozzie Osbourne. Yes, that's really my name. And I'm a love and relationship coach here in Los Angeles. You can find me on www.ozzieosbourne.com. I also am the founder of the Sexy Shift podcast. And you can find that on iTunes as well. I am 43 years old. And I am a single mother of two. I love to experience people, and I look at dating as adventures. I look at relationships as growth and opportunity to learn more about myself. I love being in my feminine and being surrounded by masculine energy. I love men who are confident and not cocky. I love men who show up and don't take things personally. So my mission in this world is to make sure that every single human believes they matter. And so everyone that is around me knows they matter. I make sure that I am present with everyone I meet. I am a good listener. I love cooking, dancing in the kitchen as I cook. I love taking care of people and holding space for people to feel loved. I love adventure. I love traveling. I love getting to know different areas that I haven't been to before. I love hiking. Nature calls me. I love being in nature. I love being by the ocean. I love the mountains. I love just exploring. Life is fun, and I like to enjoy it.
And we're going to be doing a workshop together on January 17th of 2019 in Los Angeles. So if you want to come learn from me and learn from her, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/workshop. What are the first date topics that are meaningful and enjoyable for you to talk about?
I think just starting with speaking of what's happening in your life at the moment, and then moving through of what do you want out of life? Like, what do you enjoy about life? Talk about interesting things and start with actually what's on your mind instead of digging for other topics of like, having set plan questions of what you want to ask this person, but really just begin to share about yourself and ask questions. Be curious about the other human that's sitting across the table from you or right beside you, and start there. And don't really plan, just freestyle. Have a freestyled conversation.
I would agree. I would say that one of the things that I love talking about is what lights them up. What are they passionate about? What do they love to do? Things like that. Not so much the drilling of where are you from and some of the questions that are very, it's a given that you're going to ask at some point. But I love the conversations to go naturally. I love the conversations to sort of get curious, and then we sort of flow from there. And those are some of my favorite first date conversations. And light, conversations that take us to laughter. To me, it brings ease and comfort for me.
So when you say light and bringing laughter and ease, you mean avoiding topics that are heavy or that are serious? Is that what you mean by light?
I don't mean avoiding it. I mean that laughter is part of the conversation. If it goes somewhere deep, then certainly not staying there, so that the conversation doesn't stay heavy.
Nice. So what are your top 2 languages of love?
My top 2 are words of affirmation and gifts.
Nice.
And my top 2 are words of affirmation and quality time.
What do you find attractive about men's bodies?
I love men who have long torsos. There's something very sexy about a long torso. Also, lips.
Men's bodies. I love how men's bodies are designed to make women happy. And the whole entire physique of them. I love when a man takes care of his body, and you can see that. It's visually appealing and attractive, and it feels like that's a potential partner, potential father of my children. Besides that, I love eyes and lips and all of it. But yeah, that when there's a healthy aspect to how they handle their temple or their body, I love that.
Say a little more about what does it look like, or how does a guy know if he's taking care of his body in the way that you mean? Maybe what do you see that tells you that?
When a man has an appetite or a desire to feel good, and feeling good includes what am I putting into my body? How am I moving my body? And so, yeah, it's about food and diet and lifestyle and fitness, how active you are. And I think that is definitely presented in body form.
Nice. Does your work stress affect your dating and your libido? If so, what do you think is a solution to help that? And what can the man in your life, do to help you with that?
My libido is quite high, so I have a really good a really good system for myself where I connect with my body often. And so usually outside stresses are not really affecting my libido. But there are times when I would imagine I might be tired or, but if I am being seduced or I'm attracted to my man, the stress goes away. I'm able to push the stress away and be very present in an intimate moment. And so for me, my libido is, knock on wood, and I'm not going to, but it's quite healthy.
Is there anything that stress affects your dating life?
It can. My communication is on point. It's important for me to share with my partner or the person that I'm dating how and where I'm at with my feelings and with my stress level, so they know how to show up for me. So I would probably share with them, I had a stressful day and this is what came up for me. And with the right partner, that partner would step up and make me feel safe in a way that just holding space for me. What I mean by that is either giving me a hug, being intimate, and not trying to fix my problem, but just being there. To me, presence is really important.
Nice. How about you?
I like to think that women have the power to be man's vacation from thought. And as you asked that question, I realized that men have the power to be women's vacation from thought as well. For me, I am very much living in my purpose. I'm the founder of a dating company, and my mission is to inspire more meaningful, loving relationships worldwide. And so when I'm with a partner, I am in a practice of love. I feel as though I'm able to disconnect from the grind of my work and be very present in that encounter with him. Of course, there's different aspects to life that throw us off balance, and having the awareness and the ability to express that and share that with my partner and to ask. I think it's really important to ask what it is that you would like to receive or how they can best help you through this process.
So
and
important.
When you're with the right partner, like you had said, then they're able to hold that space and be there and present for you. And you can both do that for each other.
Nice. How long is your ideal sex session? The in and out portion, not the foreplay. Yes, that's in the question. What's the minimum amount of time that is satisfactory? Conversely, how much time before it's too long?
Wow. Okay. I never quite measured that.
It's an involved question.
It's a very involved question. I've never timed it. So I think it's the perfect amount of time is whatever the perfect amount of time for that particular moment. I couldn't answer exactly what that looks like.
Do you have a sense of boundaries? Like 2 minutes is too short, 2 hours is too long? Do you have a sense of sort of that envelope, if you know what I mean, or that like optimal range?
Well, first of all, my partner would never just do 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
Good. So 2 minutes is too short.
2 minutes is too short, I suppose. But maybe we were somewhere and we decided to have a quick, fun time. So maybe it was appropriate for that moment. So it's so hard for me to gauge or to say the minimum or a maximum. For me, it's whatever is fitting for the moment. And again, if I'm with the right partner, we are communicating with each other if it's too much or too little, and it works out great.
The most important thing is connection with you and your partner, and what are you co-creating, because it's a co-creation in that moment. So there have been times where, I've had, years ago, a quote-unquote quickie in a library, and that was only, I think 2 minutes was the most that was even possible to happen. And then there's been other times where, it's gone for an hour. And I'll say, when you look at the spectrum of things, I'm probably, if you want a time like of that, it's probably around like 20, 30 minutes or so. And you're not including foreplay in there. So, we're just including penetration. So if, foreplay is part of my favorite aspect of the entire experience. And so the whole session can be around like 40 minutes or so with, say, maybe like 20, 30 minutes of penetration, potentially an hour of the whole entire experience as well.
So you were talking about this earlier a little bit, but could you rate your sex drive sort of on a scale of 1 to 10 or compared to the average woman's, whatever you would say? Earlier you said high.
10.
Okay.
I would give mine a 10 when I'm in a relationship. When I recently went 15 months without sex, and it just happened. I wasn't declaring celibacy in any way. And so during that time, I'd have some moments with myself, but sex drive wasn't on my mind on a daily basis. Whereas when I'm in a relationship, it peaks and I find myself merely like turning on, and then I want it more and more and more and more and more.
What behaviors in your partner help you be open and clear with your sexual requests?
Curiosity. I think when the other person, my partner, is curious, they have a desire and an intention to have the most profound, amazing sexual connection. So of feeling as though I am safe with them to explore, that allows me to bloom, open up, and ask for what I want. And I'll also say I'm 37, and at this point in my life, any sexual encounter, I will ask.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think curiosity and exploration, communication with one another is so important in that regard. I think it's so important for us to, or at least for me, to have a partner that checks in with me. And did you like that? Do you want more of that? Do you want less of that? And just in communication, and that could be fun and flirty and exciting as well, because I love talking through it too. Intimacy for me is not only about the moments where it's nice to have the quiet moments, but also in the talking. There's something very arousing about the conversation that you can have through a sexual encounter.
So that's actually the next question is, how do you like for your partner to check in on what's working or not working for you during sex?
Ask. Do you like that? Does that feel good to you? Do you want more of that? Ask. Because if you don't ask, then you're just assuming, and most of the time you might be in your head, and then that takes you out of the experience.
Yeah, I'll agree to ask. And I think of continuing throughout that experience to make eye contact, because the eyes can say so much. Sometimes we don't even need the words. You can just see it if you're paying attention to the other person. The way the body is moving is telling you so much.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that when both partners are that present with each other, they can notice that. And so sometimes it doesn't even have to be in a question. It could just be in the notice, right? What are you noticing that your partner's how is she enjoying it?
Mm-hmm.
So since a lot of guys, I'm sure, are nodding their heads, and a lot of guys are going, I'm not really sure what you mean by, I would notice it just by looking at you. What are some things that guys would be able to notice by looking at their partners that would say, oh, she's enjoying this, or, oh, she's not enjoying this?
Is her body moving? Do you feel as though you're in flow with one another? Is there aliveness? Are you feeling alive? Are you feeling connected to her? Is there a presence about the connection between the two of you? Sexual encounters are heart work. It's coming from the heart, not from a thinking space or from the head. So feeling into each other and her and your connection, I believe helps you to realize like what is working.
But to them, they're like, okay, I just want to please her. I want to make sure she, everything is working right.
Since a lot of guys are pretty well stuck in their heads, what do you think is a good way to help them get more into their heart? Since almost all the things you just said were be in your heart, feel through your heart. And that's really hard for men.
I think through validation. I think men, I notice that my partners really like the validation that they're right. And whether it's through verbalizing it or whether it's through my body showing them that what they're doing makes me feel good. I'm very good at communicating that both physically and verbally so that they know. I think it's so beautiful that you mentioned eye contact. Eye contact is so important. Really locking eyes with them as they're doing it and sort of validating them in through your eyes and through and just through the movement. And I've been in situations where both partners, both of us know that it's working. Our bodies are at some point are talking, right? And it's letting them know, I see you, I feel you in that moment without actually saying it. It just feels so good for both of us because it fits and we're out of our heads. We're into our bodies more so than I think they could probably relate more to the bodies and the heart.
I feel myself, like, as we're talking about this, getting turned on.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Too.
I would add breathing. Breathing is a good way. Focus on your breath.
Yes.
And that will help you get more into your heart and become more present in the moment. And along with the eye contact is your breath.
So to review, guys, a few different things to be really looking for when you're with your partner to really be connecting. One is be watching her body. Is she moving? Is she writhing? Or is she laying there? And if she's laying there, you probably want to check in. Another thing is really be feeling the sensations in your body. That might sound a little strange, but what I mean is, what do you feel in your cock? What do you feel in your hands? What do you feel in your legs? What do you feel in your body, not just what do you see? And then also, how are you breathing? Are you breathing? Are you barely breathing at all? You want to try and be taking some reasonably deep breaths. Because if you're not breathing very much, you can't feel very much, which might be why you're not feeling much. So how can a man tell a woman's sex drive by interacting with her? For example, on early dates, how's he going to be able to tell this is a woman who seems to have a high sex drive or medium or low?
I would imagine through questions, flirtation. Again, for me, I communicate in many different ways that I, obviously not on a first date, but as we're talking and getting to know each other, I do convey that I enjoy sexual intimacy with my partners. And if they ask questions, I will answer. So I think it's through questions and through getting curious that they can find out what her range is in terms of being sexual. Or
I think in relationship or with connection with another human, your sex drive is to be discovered. We all have a different alchemy that we create with one another. So I may be in relationship with one person, and depending on how long we've been together, where I'm at in my life and what we're connecting with, it may be different with him than it is with another partner. And I think that that's something that two people, through curiosity, through questions, through spending time together, is to be discovered. What is your connection? Because I can be with one man and have zero sex drive to it doesn't light me up in someone. And another man, it's skyrocket at 10 plus. And we only know that by spending time together and being each other's company.
So I'm not sure who submitted the question, but I would bet it probably was that he seems to believe he's dating a lot of women with a low sex drive. And so maybe a better question, because I've noticed that as well. It's not quite as much the woman's sex drive. It's more the woman's sex drive with the guy. So what are things that you found men can do to sort of kickstart your sex drive with them, to create good conditions for having that higher interest in sex?
Presence. Attention. I love attention from men. I think too is when you feel as though you're with a man and you feel like the only woman in the world. That really opens me up, and it creates this safe space. And I think of being someone who slowly moves into connection. Like it's not an engagement or an interaction that starts with, touching me all over the place, but it begins with like just a touch of the hand, or touching my leg, or, holding my hand, and then continues over time to build from there, because I'm at a different place in my life where I cannot wait to be a mother. So my sexual encounters are very different. And generally at this point in my life, they're happening, I'm discovering and I'm learning about someone over time before I'm hopping into bed with them. So there's a progression from each interaction, one moment to the next, where we continue to get closer and closer and closer, both spiritually, mentally, and physically.
I love that. I think that there's something really beautiful about the discovery of each other's mannerisms, and the attraction lights up as you get to know each other. And I love how you described how it starts with the touch of the hand, and then it goes to holding the hand and maybe the leg, and you feel that spark with each other. And I'm curious about, maybe that question also could have come from someone who gets wrong signals or gets different signals from women, because we do tend to give off, we say one thing, but we may mean something else. So there are the moments where there are women out there that are giving, they might be very flirtatious, but their sex drive may not align with that. So I'm wondering if maybe some men or some of your listeners have experienced that, just that confusion of, okay, she's really flirting, she's talking about that, but she won't hold my hand, or she won't, right? Like the sexual energy isn't aligned with what she's saying.
I have certainly had dates like that, so I can definitely say yes.
Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of people who've had that confusion.
Thanks for listening. To help other men find the podcast, please rate it on iTunes and write a review. Also, I'd love to hear your feedback. Which question did you find most helpful? Email me, greg@makeonlinedatingfun.com. And remember, to get your questions answered, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/questions.